Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today we will be delve more into a discussion which is starting with the title of digital transformation. We will have a focus discussions on the importance of a lot of emerging technologies and latest trends in the market. As we know that digital transformation is really accelerated in the latest years due to a lot of projects in IoT, democratization of platforms, no code, big data applications, and benefiting on all of these real technological advancements into the business. So I will just try to highlight the areas that we will be discussing today. So today we will be covering about, talking about the IoT, how it will enable businesses to connect physical devices to the internet, providing real-time and enhancing the operational efficiency. Not only efficiency, but also we will talk about the innovation, business innovation. We will also discuss the no-code and how the no-code platforms will allow to build applications for non-technical users, and how the importance of this paradigm is changing and equipping the businesses to be more agile and also to be reaching the customers' expectations faster as expected. We will also discuss a little bit about data sharing and aggregation, which is a very important aspect of any digital transformation, with the amount of huge data and how we can actually discuss the security aspects of it. We will also touch base on the Agile Frameworks and how what are the methodologies that will actually can be implemented by companies in order to perform and implement successful digital transformation. So welcome our distinguished panelists. It's really a great pleasure to be meeting with you here today and to have more discussions on your specific area. Let me start with Dr. Ahmed Thwaibi. And as we know that the IoT and no-code solutions, they are really revolutionizing the way how businesses are operating, providing real data and enabling a lot of applications and development. So with your experience as a digital transformation leader, would like you to shed the light on the sport industry in particular, where you are actually working with many years of experience in that area. What could be challenges, opportunities in implementing IoT or projects that will also include no code in your projects? And how do you see these technologies in your industry?
First of all, thank you for your introduction.
Thank you.
About IoT, there is a lot of opportunities. In sport, especially, there is a lot of area IoT can engage, from athlete performance to fan engagement to operation, stadium management, athlete performance. There's tracking devices and can track the athlete, his performance, all things about the athlete. Also, there is injury prevention. We can use it to prevent the athlete. Wearable devices, we can track the performance for the athlete, know how he's doing now. About fan, there is, we can say that, it's not just when you are in stadium. Before you come to stadium, where you will park your car, the access gate, you can use IoT there, and sensors also. It can guide you to your seats, and also it can take a lot of information about you. About operation, stadium operation, there is a lot of sensors here and there, and that generate data, and that data can use to manage the stadium right way. Also, crowd management, we can use it in crowd management. There is a lot of opportunities. We can use IoT, and I say that always. Sport, it's a green, yes, it's green industry for IT. There's a lot of things
Applications.
yes, there's a lot of application we can.
Do you see any kind of challenges that might maybe we consider that during the applications? We know that IoT existed for
Yes,
many years,
yes.
but the thing is, what would be a challenge, and for most digital leaders, in order to consider when they would like to implement these kind of projects?
First of all, integration. Now there's a lot of sensors everywhere, and each one generate data, and you want to collect all the data from different service provider and put it in one place. This is one of the biggest challenge. Second, security, privacy. And this is something you have to care about it, because these devices, small devices, there is low. It's simple to hack. And yes. Also, the cost of implementing IoT system, it's costly.
It's highly considered.
Yeah, it's high cost.
So that will take us maybe to discuss a very important and related topic, which is the data collected by the IoT. So I will move now into another area, which is the data sharing and aggregation. And of course, making data available is important for decision makers, for business users, for applications. But at the same time, we need to see how these data are managed, collected, and secured, and make sure that they are clean and not really manipulated. So I will move now to Dr. Ibrahim, and I would like to hear from you. In the real world we are living now, where cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, most of the time they are actually, we see this combination. How do you perceive the integration of data sharing and aggregation technologies affecting the cybersecurity protocols, especially for large projects, as mentioned by maybe Dr. Ahmed, where he highlighted this challenge in IoT projects, or maybe smart city, large scale maybe projects that can integrate a lot of data?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Anas, for asking me this question or pointing it to me. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for organizing such prestigious event, and I'm happy to be in front of the leaders from the different industry. Considering your question related to cybersecurity and what highlighted by my colleague Dr. Ahmed, related involving the IoT in aggregating or collecting the data, of course that comes with the risk, which we need to consider, because these data, when we aggregate it to the system or to AI, you need to protect it with the cyber controls, and that's what you all know about it. So here, there is advantage and there is a disadvantage. We call it like the positive side. When we will aggregate these data, it will enrich my threat intelligence platform. So I will be able to, after feeding these data in the same time, with analyzing these vast amount of data in real time, it will help my detection mechanism in order to identify the potential threat. So the threat intelligence will be enriched from that perspective. Also, it will help the machine, or let's say who's aggregating these data, to predict the future, let's say patterns, aggregated, collected these data through IoT sensors. It will help you to identify proactive measure and identify or response to the detected, let's say, patterns or anomalies that could lead to an incident in the future. So that's how we see it, like from cyber perspective. Of course, that comes with negative sides, which we call it like when I will integrate these data, I need to consider the quality of the data, how these data could be fed to my system. This is very big challenge when for the guys who's working on in the technical part, how they will use these data. Like it's similar, like you have different language. English, Chinese, how these all will use in the platform. So just I'm trying to simplify it. So these data, some of them is not organized in a way that could be digested by the algorithm. So he will not understand how to use these. So we will require much of parsing, use these raw logs to be understandable by the algorithm itself. Also, as you know, there is a complexity of the integration. This is very big challenge when it comes to implement these IoT device or AI models together. This challenge, it can be having, let's say, negative side. Also, there is a effect or risk which we need to be consider that, you know, when you put this data on a platform, this could be including sensitive data. So the privacy of these data need to be considered. Additionally, if you feed it from different, let's say, organization or entity, they have different standards. So there is a risk of not to comply with different standards in order to aggregate all these data. So these challenges happen or exist when you do it, but there is advantage of taking it further while considering the right security controls and the framework that could help the algorithm to perform the right decision, which is we are expecting from it.
And this is really a challenge as much as the technology advances and the adoption is higher. We need more into a standardization and a governance model that is at the same time effective, but also adaptive and quickly reflecting the needs of the new technologies and the business requirements.
Setting, actually, just say, would like to highlight this part. Setting right standard, you can all will be, because if you see even in the law, if you see in US, maybe this is acceptable, but however, this is not acceptable in UAE. So these different standards, similar concept could be applied for the AI. So to your point, if we are setting right standard, we all agree on the way how we will formulate the data, how we will use the data. It will give the trust to the end user, and it will help us to perform the activity which we are expecting from the machine itself.
And this is actually something I believe it's still ongoing, especially with artificial intelligence. We don't have any mature governance models or standards, or even we are still debating about how the technology is really going to be shaping our societies and businesses. At the same time, we have ethical considerations that are actually not really can be considered the same or handled or the same from country to another country. Thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim. I would like now to move and to build on the previous discussion and see with Mr. Ahmed, where you are actually a leader in innovation for sectors that are new maybe in our region, like the tourism. Tourism in Saudi Arabia is one of the latest sectors that are actually spot the light on it and requires a lot of applications there, where we can see the technology can build a lot of opportunities there. So I would like to tackle this point from the automation or from maybe using the technology for the sake of not only efficiency and accuracy, but also for innovation in the business model, innovation in the business process. So how we can leverage technologies like IoT, automation, or any of the emerging technologies in order to enhance innovation in sectors such as the tourism, which is, I don't really like to call it, it's not an industry, it is a sector that is connecting multiple industries together, and it is not easy to work within that sector. So we would like to hear from you about that aspect.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anas, and my esteemed co-panelists. As you mentioned rightly, tourism is not really an industry. It's not really even a sector. I mean, it's referred to as a sector, but it's a mega sector, right? Because for successful tourism, you need and ethical tourism, you need strong community engagement to make sure that you have a symbiotic or regenerative relationship with the community and the geographic area in which you're located, and not to have a parasitic impact. We see tourism done wrong in a lot of places, and you see that it could have, if implemented incorrectly, it could have a negative impact on the communities that it sits in, and the value distribution is not really equitable from the tourism happening in certain areas. At the same time, as you mentioned, within the kingdom, it is a relatively new sector. Tourism in its current format in Saudi Arabia has only been existent since around 2017, which is not that long ago. Meaning that we have a really great opportunity to approach it from a greenfield perspective. There's not a lot of brownfielding to do. There's not a lot of bad legacy to undo. We're able to approach it with a strong understanding of how we design it around positive impact to the communities, regenerative impact to the environment around us, not holding a low bar, just sustainability, but thinking about how we actually have a regenerative relationship where the increase in economic activity, the increase in the tourism actually has a positive impact on the natural environment in Al Ula. And at the same time, we have the opportunity to think about what is the role, the appropriate role, rather. And it's really key to think about this term, appropriate role the technology has in this narrative, right? In the narrative of tourism in Al Ula, or in areas where there's a high importance on the local content, high importance on cultural sensitivity, and the stewardship of the local community and local geographic region. And that means we have to be more creative, more innovative, more sensitive and sensible. So when we think about, for example, IoT, does it make sense in a place of pristine natural beauty, 2 UNESCO heritage protected sites, lush green oasis and magnificent geological landscape, to have a lot of physical technology sensors, a lot of sensors and cameras for things like security and engagement and all of these benefits? It doesn't necessarily, the answer to us is it doesn't necessarily make sense, right? In fact, we don't believe it makes sense. But we still want to achieve really great security for residents and visitors. We want to achieve delightful engagement for our tourists and for our community members. So this leads us to thinking about things like if we're trying to do things based on availability of sensors, how do we leverage the sensors that that people are bringing with them, that people already have on them, which is smartphones, right? So we have to be more creative and think about access to that kind of information. If you and then it also, when you take the extra effort to think more critically about the business use case, the value generation and the impact of the technology on the communities around you, that leads you to uncovering insights that may have a positive business effect as well, because it's a lot more cost effective to leverage the sensors that everyone has on them, on their smartphones, and develop a mobile app that takes advantage of these sensors, as opposed to deploying a massive amount of sensors that then you have to deal with the maintenance, reverse logistics, the cost on your books for all of these sensors. So I talked to a lot of solution providers and technology providers, and a lot of these conversations, especially when we're talking about new hardware solutions, whether it's headsets for augmented reality, something we're exploring very heavily in heritage tourism in Al Ula, or wearables. I always say, for me, I'm more likely to want to adopt a solution if the platform that it requires is already ubiquitous, if my users already have the platform and the hardware that you need. Meaning there's always going to be a natural bias towards things that I can do through a smartphone, right? Because everyone already has one of those. So this is kind of some of the mindset that we bring into exploring how we do tech-enabled tourism and innovative tourism solutions within an environment where, to use an AI term, is a complex constraint satisfaction problem, right? Because in artificial intelligence, one of the problems that you solve is it's called a constraint satisfaction problem. You have all these constraints that you have to satisfy, and you want to identify the optimal solution to satisfy a set of sometimes competing constraints. So if we think about the constraints in order of priority being, the stewardship of the local community, the local environment, and at the same time being able to balance that with creating a delightful and engaging tourism experience, we have to take some non-obvious approaches, right, to innovation. So, and at the same time, that doesn't mean that we shy away from technology. So for example, we are working on innovative solutions related to gaming, related to metaverse. We put the world's first UNESCO heritage protected site on the metaverse. That means that we're able to democratize access to incredible human heritage. In heritage sites, one of the challenges, whether you're visiting the magnificent tombs in Hegra or Al-Hijr in Al-Ula, or you're visiting the pyramids, for conservation reasons, you're not able to enter the tombs, right? Because that will have a detrimental effect on the integrity of the tomb itself, this ancient structure that needs to be maintained very carefully. However, if you visit Hegra right now in the metaverse, in Decentraland, you're able to enter the tomb because it's 3D scanned using laser and LiDAR, and you can have an accurate experience of being inside this tomb because we built it to scale. We've actually held meetings inside it in the metaverse. We're also understanding that to tell the narrative of a destination to a younger audience, we were having a conversation about this, how younger audiences now really need high stimulation in how you engage them. We've looked to gaming as a way of storytelling for Al-Ula. So we actually launched a Roblox game to explore the narrative, not only explore the beauty of Al-Ula and the different elements within our brand, such as adventure. There's a cycling activity. We have some of our key assets represented. Maraya, the world's largest mirrored building in the world, that's also in the game. But also we're exploring the narrative of the Arabian leopard, a critically endangered species that if it were not for the intervention of Al-Ula, the Royal Commission for Al-Ula, was heading towards extinction. So we wanted to bring that story to the world and educate people about the importance of conservation, using the Arabian leopard as an example and the efforts of Al-Ula. So we built and launched a Roblox game that's actually been received very positively. So a lot of these things may be non-obvious value chains that we unpack, but we want to stay very agile, stay very nimble in exploring what is the potential for applying innovative emerging solutions to have an appropriate reflection, appropriate dialogue with the natural environment and the local community.
Very interesting. So as we see here, we heard a lot of applications, a lot of opportunities where we can integrate not only the tourists, but also maybe communities around the world with these offerings coming from historical places around the world. And definitely it will take us now to discuss, once we digitalize all of this, the experience, the images, the videos, we will go now to talk about how we can optimize the digital assets. So Dr. Ahmed, so how businesses really can, and this is your area, I would like you to hear and explain to us how businesses can effectively optimize their digital assets to maximize efficiency, value creation, at the same time really create an addition to the user experience also in the business. So I would like to hear, how do you tackle this aspects.
First of all, we want to define what we mean by digital assets. Digital assets, it's any type of information stored in digital format used to create value. This is the important part about digital assets, because not everything we have, it's assets.
Asset, yeah. Asset
Some of it
must
we
drive
don't
value,
need it.
yes.
Some of it we have to eliminate it, we have to delete it, we have to don't care about it. And some of it, it's very important for us. And we have to focus about it. This is the first thing we should start with it. Then it's any type of information stored in digital format can create value. Video, text, report, anything. طيب, how we can optimize it? First of all, if you cannot measure it, you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. First of all, you have to identify your assets. You have to ask the business what's the important information for that business. Categorize it. See what's the critical information they needed, the critical assets. This is the first step. Second step, classify it in the way you can retrieve it. If you have a digital asset and you cannot retrieve it in right time, then there is no value for it. But classify it in a way you can retrieve it, centralize it, or make it in central management system based in your business needs. Some business, small business, you don't need that huge system. Some business, no, they need a huge business, big data to manage the digital assets. After that, you have to bring advanced analytics tools to use that data, because there is no benefit of that data if it's, or the digital assets, if I cannot dig in it and get report of it. Use it and also learn from it. Maintain it, update regularly, implement also procedure, governance for that data, how to use it, how to benefit. Also protect it, and you have to ensure you have robust cyber securities. This is the way you can optimize that assets. Also, there is something, we are talking about information and to convert that information to a digital format. There is type of information, we call it implicit knowledge or information. That's in the mind of people in your organization. You should, and sometimes it's more important than the normal information stored in systems. You should think about it, think how can make process to have that information and convert it to a digital assets to manage it, because it is sometimes more important than the explicit information. This is in summary.
I believe, yes. So you mentioned a couple of practices, best practices.
Yes.
How to, first of all, identify the asset, the digital asset, what does it mean, and then how to can not only just capture it, but how to update it, maintain it, and most importantly is to secure it. I will move now to Dr. Ibrahim again. As you are involved in Abu Dhabi government digital transformation projects, and we know that Abu Dhabi is one of maybe the most advanced cities in the digital transformation and adoption. And I would like to hear from you how you can maybe reflect on any innovative cybersecurity solutions that might maybe leverage IoT, automation, enhance protection, maybe against cyber threats, or how do you see the future projects will be look like in this area?
Interesting. So I will thank Dr. Ahmed to highlight the part where he is related to classification of data and the start of knowing the critical assets and where is it, how that will be impacting your business. So that's very crucial when it comes to cybersecurity. So from my experience, the challenge was for end user, or let's say the system owner. He always classify it in a wrong way. So he will say everything is important to me, which is giving us a challenge, or we face challenge when we deal with these data, which is collected from their environment, and how we classify it. Because if I do categorize them all with the highest category, it will be,
Overwhelming.
overwhelming,
Yes.
and nobody will take it seriously. Even that's mean I will call every day for CSIR to take action on that, which is not the way how the business should be happening. So back to your question related, where is that could fit, like building security operations center. This help much in identifying the data, seeing the raw logs, and how you classify it in a way our threat hunter can make decision on these incidents related to this data. And the other part is to understand the type of business. Maybe these alerts coming from operation behavior, which is sometimes due to, let's say, maintenance, or that there is a spike, not to be considered as cyber event or that. So these all information should be collected wisely from the system owners and feed to the security operations center in order to come up with a mature, let's say, response plan that help everyone to understand how they could react to it. So that's where the IoT will be helpful when we reach to OT environment, and similar in IT, there is other mechanism you can collect your data accordingly. So for that purpose, like security wise, we need to consider on putting the AI on the top of the security response mechanism. So what is like in Handrak that we are discussing it with a couple of universities, we would like to see how the scenario-based approach, like we use now, if I'm the guy who's working in this environment, I will remember, or let's say I will be putting scenarios that I could respond in case if I activated the CSIR. However, collecting the data, or putting the inputs for what system I have and how these systems get integrated together, these kind of scenarios, AI algorithm can create it for you. So like sometimes you will forget how that integration, but if you have all collected and fit to the model, this will help you to come up with the scenarios that could enrich your response mechanism in case of incidents. So in that case, I will mature my team who's identifying this, let's say the threat, how they will react to it, and using the AI also to, let's say, come up with the steps. Because I noticed like in couple of incidents, when you sit with the team, they know how to solve this incidents, but they get in panic mode. And sometimes they forget how to use their process. So training them through the simulation and the scenarios that could be possible to cater to your environment, this very effective, and we saw the advantage out of it. So inshallah in future, maybe AI will be more involved in getting scenarios that could be used for response team, and also to educate the other stakeholders, how they will respond, how they will be educated about these type of events and how they will react. That's the most important thing. You need to measure the response time to defend your organization. So these all collectively, you can see the effect of AI, how it could be, let's say, beneficial. And the result, you can see it easily maturing your team and enhancing their level of awareness or defense, we call it in security.
Beautiful. I really love that, and I really highly see the value of building up a team, equipping the team, not only with the knowledge, but also by real case scenarios and put them in the real situation where they can utilize the technology in order to be more innovative and more accurate and more effective in their work, especially for security. Definitely education and need to maybe adopt more of these latest technologies and change the way we actually deliver our training and knowledge for the knowledge seekers. So that's lovely. I would like just now to...
Spot
yeah.
on. Just I would like to add that the part which you said just now, for attacker, when they want to attack, let's say you are coming from Abu Dhabi University. So if I'm an attacker, I will not use out-of-shelf, let's say, scenario and attack you. I will know your environment. So when you will build a scenario, it should be catered for your environment. So he will be specified, he know your environment, and he will launch that kind of attack on your entity.
Customized.
Yeah, he will not search how I will do attack. So that kind of things need to be considered when you think about a defense strategy for your organization.
Excellent. Dr. Ahmed, you want to say something?
When Dr. Ibrahim talking about AI, I'm thinking about how AI will attack and how AI will defend. And this is one of the concern now.
Definitely.
Yani, you try to use AI to protect your assets, but there's someone will use AI
To attack.
To attack
you.
And you should
This is how you can. So we see a lot of deep fake assets or videos generated, and it could be very hard to detect them with your eyes. You need sometimes advanced machine learning algorithms and AI to detect these fake or deep faked videos or images. So AI can be useful for attacking or can be for securing.
The problem is more than that. Yeah, now the computer know about you more than what you know about yourself. And he can expect how you think. يعني in near future, I think the computer can expect your password. You know how you think.
And that will lead us to the maybe science fiction mode, thinking about how reality is becoming really more and more closer to a science fiction. What we used to see, it's impossible. It's now part of our daily life. I would like maybe I know that this is very interesting discussion and topic, and we can maybe go further, but I would like to maybe finalize before we open the floor for the audience for any questions with Mr. Ahmed. How, talking about the team and team building, and we know that agility and developing or building product or solutions faster to the market is very important. How do you, if you can provide some examples about agile frameworks that have been implemented in innovation in your area according to your experience, and solving complex problems and also tackling maybe challenges that are not easy to manage. So how agile frameworks could be utilized and can be useful in that case?
I think there's a lot of kind of thought leadership and bodies of knowledge around just the straightforward, direct use of agile frameworks in building software. I mean, in previous experiences where I've managed software teams or been in primarily software environments, it was a key way of making sure that you're able to deliver on time, be able to ship, and build, and test and ship your products on time, especially when you're building new solutions. I was previously doing work in building IoT products in healthcare or in supercomputing, working in supercomputing industry with Cray supercomputers. And being able to properly and effectively implement agile practices, agile framework, best practices was very critical. In my transition to marry this with in complex environments that bridge both public and private sector, working in tourism, for example, the challenges in agility become more pronounced outside of your core technical team or outside of the core delivery team, and become more intertwined with the ecosystem you have to operate within. So when we think about innovation management as a discipline, one component of the innovation value chain may be the technical development and delivery of a digital product or a digital experience. But you have to be able to figure out how that all integrates with a complex machine, right, within a regulatory framework. For example, you're trying to introduce a new product in tourism that uses drones, and there's regulations around drone usage, for example. How do you make sure that you build these conversations, that sort of stakeholder engagement, in your development and delivery roadmap? At the same time, you have to integrate best practice methodologies around customer research, understanding what tourists want, but at the same time, what will the local community accept, right? So there's a point or a level of complexity beyond which the simple application of agile methodologies in software development doesn't guarantee you agility in your end result, right? In actually being able to successfully launch a product that has value and has impact to the community that you're trying to serve. So my advice in this regard is to be able to figure out how to adapt agile methodologies, agile thinking into your specific environment that you're working with, especially if you're working in a large organization or you're working in a public entity or public-private partnership. How do we ensure that we're still able to deliver value to the communities that we serve in that more complex ecosystem, right? For example, we have to think about how do we keep Al-Ula competitive, relevant, and differentiated, right? For us, that means in an environment where tourism is a relatively new industry, how do we leverage global experience? We recently launched a program called the Scale Up Hub, where we invite mature startups, Series A and beyond, to be part of this lightweight incubator in Al-Ula and pilot their solutions with us, right? That required multiple entity coordination within RCU and with other entities in the kingdom as well. And if we were simply thinking about how do we deliver a simple product or a simple solution, we wouldn't have been able to actually build and launch this program. Right?
So I believe the need to go to the market quickly, it's something important, but sometimes a very huge, complex environment. We need to consider not only the end user or individual user requirement, we need to think about group or society requirements, and we have a lot of restrictions. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful to have discussions and to see how the ideas floating from the adoption of IoT, data asset management, security, and innovation at the same time. I would like to thank our distinguished panelists for sharing with us your thoughts and your experience. Definitely discussions will continue further. I'm not sure if we have still time, but I might open the floor if any questions from the audience. Otherwise, maybe we can conclude the session by having final recommendation or insights from you. So do you have any questions? Right, so we can maybe have final takeaways from your side, suggestions, recommendations for digital transformation leaders. What do you suggest and recommend?
First of all, about digital transformation. Digital transformation, it's about build capability in the organization to adapt to new technology and use it. This is the digital transformation. And my advice for gentlemen and company here, focus on sport. It's a green area. It's a green industry for digital transformation, for solutions, for engagement, community engagement. I think there is a lot of opportunities.
Excellent.
Welcome.
Dr. Ibrahim.
Okay, in short, just considering AI in your environment, it's like two-edged sword. So there is advantage and disadvantage. So to the point, when it comes to security, if attackers start using, let's say, AI to attack you, you should start using AI to defend yourself. Like if somebody coming with a machine gun, I cannot defend myself by a knife, like traditional defense mechanism, we call it. So we should use it in this way, but consider the challenges, the issues, and also the negative part. We try to come up with agreement with the, let's say, different country, how the data should be shared, framework, standard-wise. That could be helpful when we consider leveraging AI in the environment and move toward digitalization.
Excellent. Mr. Ahmed, takeaways.
I've two related pieces of advice, and I think a lot of us in different industries spend our time attending conferences, and our goal really is how do we compete better? How do we have organizations that are more competitive? So I'd like to focus my advice on that. My recommendation within innovation technology is to stay more competitive, do two things. One, look at not what your competitors in your industry are doing, but look at what other industries are doing. That's where you can get the right insights to innovate within your own industry and disrupt it so you can stay more competitive. And secondly, think about the technology last and the use cases first. So if you look at your customers, you think about what are your customers' needs are, you're going to spend less time in incremental innovation and more time being able to create radical innovations that address evolving needs from your stakeholders, because we live at a time with AI and everything else happening where the markets and the people you're serving, the communities or customers you're serving are changing very rapidly, their needs are changing very rapidly. So if you spend less time with them, more time with the technology, you're going to be less in tune to how to build products and solutions that have better conformity to their needs. So
thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and we conclude our session today. I would like to thank the panelists and the audience for this today, and I would like to hand it over to you, please.